In this season, having the courage to press refresh is everything. Hello, my name is Sal. I'd like to start off by sharing a story about a time in my life when I pressed refresh. You see, my ancestors were storytellers, and in Mozambique, they use stories to teach you a lesson. Stories to reflect, stories to inspire. Everything is rooted in a story. When I arrived in England 11 years ago, I breathed in new possibilities. I could feel possibilities running through my veins with all the lights, billboards, and street names like Bond Street and Regent Street. I was amazed. I was inspired. 6 months before I graduated, I was on track to rank as the second top student in my entire course, was nominated Global Ambassador, and had received a university award recognizing my outstanding contributions. On the surface, I had accomplished what most students only wish to achieve. I had the high grades, the awards, and the recognition. I was basically one phone call away from sharing the news that would make most parents proud. But I didn't make that call. I didn't make that call because I was heavily burdened with shame. All the awards and accolades meant nothing at the time because I thought that I had all the odds stacked up against me. Whenever I opened my email inbox, I found the same message over and over again. Thank you for your interest to apply for this graduate position. Unfortunately, we cannot proceed with your application at this time. Time and time again, I met with people who reassured me that it was normal for international students not to get hired. These same people claimed that my chance of securing a full-time job was this small because I needed a visa sponsorship. People who I perceived to be more intelligent and more qualified than I was looked me straight in the eyes and said, "To avoid disappointment, I would recommend that you start making arrangements to return to your home country before your visa expires in October 2014. I felt so uncertain about my future, and it felt like I had failed myself, failed the ones I loved, and everyone who believed in me. We often have a tendency to believe that our past mistakes and personal circumstances have the ability to stop our future success. We measure our future based on our past. Has there ever been a time in your life when you felt like you were not enough? Like you didn't have enough? You asked yourself, do I have what it takes to achieve my goal? Has anyone ever been there? I remember this wet, cold, dark January evening in Egham, UK. My head was pounding and pounding and pounding, and it just kept intensifying. My thoughts were spinning out of control. How? How can I show my potential to my future employer? I don't even know how I went to bed that night. I woke up the next morning, and there was only one thing on my mind. If I can't get to my future employer, then my future employer would have to come to me. Since online job applications weren't cutting it at the time, or at least I wasn't making the cut, I made the decision to press refresh. To press refresh and stop all the negative conversations that were going on in my mind. I stopped blaming my passport and the fact that I needed a visa. I stopped thinking about what other people thought I could or could not achieve. And I got laser focused on my desired result. Suddenly, there was this quiet, still voice inside me. This voice that we all have, almost like a whisper. Keep going. Now is your time. Look at all the mountains you've climbed to get here. Look at all you have accomplished. Look at all of your skills. Can you see yourself the way that I see you? See, my circumstances hadn't changed. The only thing that did change was the conversation that was going on in my mind and what I knew was possible. From that point onwards, I took bold, strategic steps towards my graduate career goal. I created a networking event with the intention of bringing together a group of 10 prospective employers that I would have loved to work for. 9 out of 10 responded positively to my invitation and actually showed up at the event. I invited some students to meet these 9 consulting firms, and I invited some lecturers who happily championed the networking event and sponsored the catering. I presented and hosted the entire event. That night, I actively demonstrated my strengths in a way that no amount of paragraphs on my cover letter or bullet points on my CV could have ever accurately described. Somehow, that quiet, still voice had convinced me that my goal was possible. And just like that, one simple event resulted into 2 management consulting job offers in less than 24 hours. Walking home that evening felt so magical. I'm not entirely sure I walked home because it felt more like flying. After months of trying and over 150 rejection emails, I could finally breathe a sigh of relief. And the craziest thing about this entire experience was that the boutique management consulting firm that hired me didn't even have a visa sponsorship license to begin with. I was the first non-EU and non-UK citizen to join their company. And that was my gate pass to stay and start a life here. I share this experience with you to remind you that your desired result is possible. And if you think that you have all the odds stacked up against you, press refresh. Here's what I know. When our outside world is out of control, we can only change our inner world. The conversation going on in your head defines what happens in your life. What conversations are you entertaining in your mind right now? What limiting beliefs have you accepted and surrendered to? I asked this question to over 1,000 young adults between the ages of 18 to 29 in the past year. And some of their responses were, I'm too young, I'm not in good shape, it's too late, I don't have any experience. I don't have the money. But the most common response by far was this: maybe I'm just not good enough. What I found out was most of us are silently resenting ourselves for not having achieved the level of success that we want. If that's you, allow yourself to press refresh. Give yourself another chance. Free your mind to express your talents and ideas, regardless of how unconventional or out of the box they may seem. Some of you may know me as an international best-selling author, a speaker, or an advisory board member. And while I happily embrace all those titles, I keep giving myself grace to press refresh. Over the years, I've had more opportunities to press refresh. I pressed refresh after I started and failed 2 startup ideas. I pressed refresh after experiencing stagnation, financial loss, and failures. And I allowed myself to explore my own potential, which led me to my greatest joy. And that is helping young adults build their confidence, leverage their strengths, and redefine success on their own terms. Today, I have the privilege of delivering personal development workshops for students and graduates in universities and companies all over the world. I just want to know, what could your life look like if you dared to press refresh? To press refresh means to shift any perspective that does not empower you. So today, I'd like to invite you to press refresh, or at least consider the idea of pressing refresh. I have 3 simple questions that we can all ask ourselves to help us shift our thoughts whenever we're faced with rejection or even adversity. 3 questions to help you feel more empowered to get what you want. My first question is, what do you love doing? Remember, what you're good at and what you love doing can be 2 completely different things. I am really good at processing documents, but I don't love doing that. What do you love doing that sets your soul on fire? My next question is, what are you proud of? We all have something that we can be celebrated for. At some point in your life, you did something that made you feel proud. What was it? And finally, what would you do if you knew that you could not fail? See, that job, that life, that experience, that career, that relationship, or that body that you want is possible. There is freedom in setting your mind free and allowing yourself to press refresh. For some of you, this may be the last time we see each other. But before we part ways, I want to remind you that it's never too late to believe in yourself, to believe in who you are and the strength that is inside of you. It's never too late to be brave and shift any perspective that does not empower you. It's never too late to believe that you have the power to press refresh. In closing, I would love to share the TEDx stage with you. I'll say a few words, and all you need to do is repeat those exact same words after me. We need to work together here and at a really good pace, so try to match my words, tone of voice, and speed as best as you can. Agreed? Okay, let's begin. If you love it, go for it. If you love it, believe in it. Have faith in it. Strengthen it. Go for it. Go for it. Only if you love it. You are amazing. Thank you.